Welcome, true believers and newcomers alike. Spider-Man co-creator Stan Lee here. Once again, we find our hero Peter Parker, better known around the world as the Amazing Spider-Man, in a heap of trouble. But this is just the beginning, Spidey fans. So get ready for a true superhero action thriller, packed to the brim with thrills and chills, twists and turns, more supervillains than you can shake a web at, and of course, non-stop web-slinging, wall-crawling action.
Spider-Man for PlayStation 4 is one of the best games on the PlayStation, with fantastic displays of story weaved together with engaging gameplay and visuals. It is honestly one of the best uses of the web-slinger in media to date. Let's talk about story, because to be honest, this is an amazing story that even the movies can't even accomplish. Seriously, that's how good this story is. The characters in this story are what really makes the experience memorable and relatable. Peter Parker is the best part, hands down. Obviously, he's Spider-Man. His voice acting is super on point, puts to shame Tobey Maguire and even Tom Holland's performances. The range he has between being a goofball with his Spider-Man quips and his Spider-Cobb thing to being very serious and dramatic, like towards the end of the game with Doc Ock. His relationships are very integral in this story. With MJ, it's very laid down and grounded, with a realistic portrayal of relationship problems with a bit of a Spider-Man twist. On the opposite end is Dr. Octavius. Peter has a deep-seated relationship with Doc Ock that allows for the story to unfold the way it does, and without getting into spoilers, it creates a very personal conflict that the player can get very invested in. Gameplay. And oh boy, I can talk about gameplay. The fighting is just so satisfying. The simple, cool combos that you can make and the finishers just make each fight feeling fresh over and over again, even if it becomes super repetitive. As the game progresses in story, the enemy types change up as well. There are a variety of different types of enemies in this game that make it challenging for the player and allows the player to switch up their play style and be more effective. But like I said, it does get a bit repetitive. Overall, the fighting is just awesome. The boss fights are in itself very unique and fun. However, they don't require much thinking and can be rather simple. They follow a very similar pattern in almost every single boss fight. It's wear the boss down, hit them with a simple combo, and then dodge their counters, repeat. The only real interesting fight to me was Vulture and Electro. It requires you to stay in the air and take out both of them at once. And while there is a similar fight like that with Rhino and Scorpion, it's much simpler and pretty easy, honestly. Another thing that kind of stinks about the gameplay is the MJ and Miles stuff. They both are huge stalls to an otherwise well-paced game. They're both pretty boring, they're both pretty uneventful, and like I said, they do a huge slowdown on the pace of the game. Miles, on the other hand, he's a bit different. He's not as bad as MJ with his ability to use his cell phone to hack into things, but overall both of them are just so boring. Seriously, why did they add them into this game? And speaking of things they shouldn't have added, why did they add these dumb Octavius iPads? Yeah, they're easy ways to get XP, but they can be skippable. And if you're gonna have a gameplay mechanic that is skippable, should you even have it in the first place? But what kind of redeems those two little faults is the side missions and the game variety. So for the side missions, they're pretty engaging and fun, but they lack a lot of depth. Previously stated before, you could be fighting this enemy types that happen all over the place. Yeah, certain missions are repeated throughout the game. They change only with the location you find them in, and that doesn't really make for a good thing, but there are tons of other side missions that make everything all worth it. The strongholds are pretty fun and worth replaying to get every challenge completed. I remember doing, after going through the game a second time, I enjoyed doing those stronghold missions more and more because I wanted to complete the challenges even better than I did the first time I played through. And same thing with the villain specific missions. Those are really cool. They not only give you awesome characters that otherwise haven't been in other Spider-Man media, or they're just really fun and unique compared to even some of the main story missions. Honestly, by far the greatest biggest one is the Taskmaster side missions. They give you tokens to unlock more stuff for your character, but after a certain amount of missions, you can fight Taskmaster and he kind of mimics your moves and tries to copy you. And I think it's one of his shticks in the comics, and that's really cool that they integrated that idea into gameplay by making it much more difficult to really counter him because he's always countering you. And same thing with Tombstone, like certain missions allow you to unlock more in his little side mission story, and ultimately you fight him in this really cool closed off battle where the whole building sets on fire and you have to use that to your advantage to take down Tombstone, who is unbeatable. Black Cat was pretty basic, but the side missions did a really good job teasing the expansion and the DLC. Gameplay variety, customization for your character is bonkers. Like, it's crazy how much you could do with Peter Parker and change the way he plays and looks. Like, there are at least 20 different skills you can equip with the ability to use at least 3 of them. On top of that, there are finishing moves and special unique abilities that allow you to spice up the gameplay even further beyond what you can do with regular like punching and kicking. And the costumes are super cool. There's a wide range of them, and honestly, I like them all, but I mainly use the Far From Home Spidey suit and the Spidey 2099 suit. Overall, this is a pretty solid game with a huge open world, so much to explore for new Spider-Man fans and old. It really puts to shame what Sony and even Marvel have been doing for years on the big screen. I can't wait for the next game to come out.